Hello, you are welcomed by the Tire Expert channel and its regular presenters Vladimir Vavlev. Hello everyone, and I'm Andriy Nazarev. Today, Vladimir and I will review tires for commercial vehicles. This is a very important segment that provides almost all cargo transportation, thanks to which we have something to eat, drink, dress, wear and use in everyday life, and trust to get to the subway, at least. So, today, we will look at 7 different tires for commercial vehicles in our review. They will all be united by the fact that these models belong to Chinese tire brands, but nevertheless manage to win over their user. These are the most popular models, not only in our opinion, but also according to the analysis of the sales that we observe from various organizations. And, of course, this is due to the main factor that is very important for the owners of these and drivers of commercial vehicles: a combination of price and quality. In this, Chinese manufacturers have succeeded, providing, respectively, drivers and owners of these cars with tires that offer both durability and the ability to carry the load and thereby again do transportation, but at an affordable price. Vladimir and I will look at each model separately and tell you about the nuances and features of each model specifically. And our review today will begin with the model Goodright Redil Ash 188. The manufacturer of Goodright has long been known to us. For those who are hearing about this for the first time, I will briefly remind you. The Goodright tire brand belongs to the largest tire company from China, ZC, which are among the 10 largest tire manufacturers in the world. There are many regalia presented in almost all countries of the world, extremely high-quality products in all segments: passenger cars, trucks, commercial tires, for special equipment. And today, we have presented tires for commercial vehicles model Redil Ash 188 in the amount of 205/65 P16C with load indices 107, 105, with a speed index T up to 190 km per hour. Well, here the manufacturer has applied the traditional pattern for such tires, for such a category of tires, symmetrical. Closed shoulder zones, that is, practically C tires, are like a small repetition of cargo pooms. The shoulder area is always closed, there are supporting ribs, here we have 2 of them here. There are 3 wide longitudinal channels. They're so zigzag. Here, the manufacturer also thought about how the tire could create a little traction, for example, so to speak, on some light mud surfaces. The tread depth here is 8 mm, and the tread hardness here is 67 units. But, as always, manufacturers from China use a large number of lamellas, although, in principle, this is typical for tires of this class, given the fact that they always seem to imply the so-called all-season. This does not mean that the rubber compounds here are adapted to low temperatures, but in the transition period. Thanks to the lamellas and various cutouts, this will improve grip on wet surfaces. Returning to the shoulder area, the transverse channels, yes, they are closed here, but at the same time, so to speak, slats are made in them again, in order to improve grip on wet surfaces. According to the internal structure, here we have a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 2 layers of steel braces, 1 layer of nylon. The sidewall is quite so elastic, but still so firmly rigid, I would say. The manufacturer thought about the fact that the tire could carry a load of 8 per year is the ply rate for this tire. The landing zone is very rigid. That's what will allow this tire, first of all, to resist external influences to the sidewall, and hold well on the disc and carry the load. And besides, the manufacturer draws our attention to the fact that this model has extremely important characteristics, namely very high wear resistance, that is, extremely long walking time, which is a very important indicator for commercial tires. Well, in terms of the safety of its use, a very high threshold of aquaplaning is noted. Tires perfectly remove water from the contact spot. Well, here is a short overview of this model, which will allow you to make a choice. Put this tire, or, for example, take the next one, which we will talk about. Next one. In our today's review, a model of the tire brand Land Spider, model Wild Track 2 will be presented. The tire is also for commercial vehicles, being developed in a wide range of type sizes. We have it presented in the amount of 195/75 P16C with load indices 107, 105, and with a speed index R. What is worth noting? is that this is one of the most popular types of sizes that are put on Gazelles and other frequently encountered commercial vehicles in our country. The tire is all-season, but again, for our type of climate, this is all a big convention. This only means that the tire can be put on a little earlier from the winter period to the summer one, and changed from summer to winter a little later. In severe winter conditions, on an icy road, we do not recommend using tires. Despite the fact that the marking of all seasons is present, this tire is still for the warm period. Here, the manufacturer has applied the traditional symmetrical tread pattern for commercial vehicles. There are 3 support ribs. There are shoulder zones, respectively. But what does it say here that the tire is, after all, partly sharpened for this all-season? The blocks are all independent. That is, the manufacturer thought about such a parameter as traction. That is, in order to create traction, perhaps on some light off-road, maybe some soft soils. And if some first snow and rain suddenly falls, then the tire will be able, thanks to this pattern, and a large number of lamellae, respectively, to clean the tread, and, accordingly, to adhere to the surface. What else can be noted? The tread depth here is small 7 and 3, the tread hardness is 67. There is a protective belt along the sidewall, which is formed like the inscription itself. It is voluminous, and then there are such special protrusions that will protect the sidewall directly from rubbing against the curb stone. Here is the landing zone. It is quite solid. Something in principle is typical for tires of this class. Well, and the sidewall. This will allow her, the tire, to carry a sufficiently large load. Here, the ply rate is 8, etc. The internal structure is a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 1 layer of nylon, and 2 layers of steel. Well, I would also draw your attention to the fact that the Land Spider tire brand first of all became known in our country, and in the tire world as a whole, thanks primarily to truck tires. And it appeared as an original manufacturer of truck tires. And thanks to this, great confidence is aroused in commercial tires for commercial vehicles from this manufacturer, because most of the technical solutions are borrowed from truck tires. The Land Spider models are extremely hardy, durable, excellent walking ability, and, for example, thanks to the fact that a large number of lamellae with which the tread is cut, the tire behaves perfectly on a wet surface. Yes, in general, if you are looking for a tire that can carry a load and at the same time work on various surfaces, this applies to both asphalt and, for example, country roads, then this drawing will be preferable. The next model that is presented in our review today is the Sailun Commercio Pro. This is probably the most popular tire brand from China, not only in our country, but all over the world. Recently, we introduced you to the information that in countries such as the UK and Canada, Sailun was in 2nd place in popularity among all tire brands. The company is one of the top 15 largest tire manufacturers in the world, and, of course, the product for commercial vehicles from this brand deserves special attention. So, the Commercio Pro model is presented here today in the amount of 215/65 P16, with the index naturally C, load indices 109/107. The load index is double. If you are not aware, we remind you that this is necessary in order to correctly calculate the load that the tire can carry, with various installation options, in a single version on the side, and when the tires are installed in pairs on each side of the car. The speed index is P. The tire has a symmetrical tread pattern, quite traditional for this class of car tires. Well, the pronounced longitudinal central grooves here provide excellent drainage of water from the contact spot, thereby providing incredibly high safety and confidence when traveling on wet roads. And this is one of the most difficult surfaces for the summer period. The tread depth here is 7 and 4. The hardness is 67.5 units, as Andrew said, yes. There are these 3 wide longitudinal channels, 2 supporting ribs with numerous recesses and cutouts. All this is done in order to combat aquaplaning. Solid support ribs in order to maintain directional stability, shoulder blocks with mass-shaped jumpers. Although here the manufacturer has made such narrow channels so that the tire is still cleaned and fights aquaplaning. What else has been done here? Lamellae in the tread blocks. I would recommend this tire to those who drive in the city and often come into contact with curbs. It's just this protective belt on the sidewall. It protrudes somewhere on the order of 2 or 3 millimeters. That's what will allow this tire to resist the most aggressive energy impact and impact from the sidewall in general. According to the internal structure, here we have a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 2 layers of stage, and a layer of nylon. Well, I would also note that this model has been presented for more than the first season on our tire market. It is truly a bestseller, and in many ways thanks to what Vladimir said. This is the legendary endurance tire. It is able to withstand high loads during everyday harsh operation in urban conditions. When you have to overcome curbs so often and constantly that almost any other tire will not withstand such pressure. But Sailun copes with it perfectly. Next in line, we have a review of the TrackMax conveyor tire. RF09. The TrackMax tire brand has recently appeared on the domestic tire market. According to my memory, it is presented only for the second summer season, but in the short time. Since the tires of this brand are sold, they have already managed to win their army of fans. Many users are now asking first of all for tires of this particular brand. And all thanks to the fact that TrackMax tires have a high level of comfort. They are soft, and most importantly, one of the quietest. And this is noted by users of passenger tires, tires for subs, and, oddly enough, tires for commercial vehicles. Manufacturers of tires for commercial vehicles do not, in principle, include acoustic comfort characteristics in their models. Because wear resistance and a low level of rolling resistance are important. But TrackMax took care of the driver's comfort, created quiet and comfortable tires. Well, this is indicated by the sidewall. It is elastic enough, which allows this tire to extinguish the irregularities of the road surface. Classic symmetrical pattern to supporting ribs with numerous cutouts. This is done in order to combat unplanning and work on a wet surface. The shoulder blocks are of such a U-shaped shape with open transverse channels. Well, it's immediately clear that the manufacturer has just paid great attention to the fight against planning and working on wet surfaces. The tread depth here is 8 and 3, a sufficiently deep pattern that allows you to take a large amount of water, clean the tread. The hardness of the rubber compound here is 68 units, which also indicates a fairly high wear resistance of this tire. And in general, according to the internal structure, there is a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 2 layers of steel, and a layer of nylon, which will allow this tire to carry the load and thereby, as well as maintain directional stability. And a contact spot when you work directly on some track, respectively, on hard surfaces. Well, I would also note that the model is available in a wide range of sizes and covers with its size range almost the entire model range of minibuses, light trucks presented on our automotive market. And our review today will continue with a tire from perhaps the most popular Chinese tire brand in Russia. This is the Triangle brand, the Konex Van TV 701 model. The model is presented in a type size of 215/70p16C with load indices 108, 106 with a speed index T up to 190 km per hour. Here, the manufacturer has applied the traditional symmetrical tread pattern for commercial vehicles. 2 wide solid ribs for directional stability and operation on motorways. Wide shoulder blocks with bridge-like jumpers for stability on bends. Then there are slats in the shoulder blocks in order to interlock on wet surfaces. Here we have 3 wide longitudinal channels, depth 7 and 3. Tread hardness here is 66 units. And inside these channels there are also protrusions. These are ejector stones, which will allow, if you go out on country roads, thereby protect your drawing from damage. According to the internal structure, there is a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 2 layers of steel, and a layer of nylon. Well, I would in turn note that the Triangle tire brand is incredibly popular due primarily to the fact that it produces extremely high-quality products. Well, it is also worth noting that they have probably been widely represented in Russia for about 10 years, and over the years, have won great success among our motorists. And not only among motorists from our country, but also all over the world. The company is in the top 20 of the world's largest tire manufacturers. Tires participate in international tests. They occupy quite good positions. Well, the price-quality ratio of Triangle products is one of the best. The next model, which in our opinion deserves attention, is the Antares NT3000. The tire of the Antares brand, which is also from China. But this brand has a very interesting pedigree. The company appeared as a result of close cooperation between two tire companies, the Chinese company Max Track and the world-famous Japanese tire manufacturer Bridgestone, which was able to share technologies, innovations and developments in the production of tire products. And now, the commercial Sailun 3000 is a vivid confirmation of this. The model is presented today in our type size 195/75 P16C with load indices 107, 105 with a speed index C. Here, as with many commercial tires, the tread pattern is traditionally symmetrical. We have to support ribs in order to carry the load and, accordingly, maintain directional stability. There are cutouts, recesses on these ribs in order to clean the tread. Shoulder blocks, we have them with small slots, respectively, almost solid, also with lamellae in the shoulder area, which will allow the tire to work on a wet surface. There is a rather deep drawing of 9 and 6. 9 and 6, and the hardness of the rubber compound is 65 units. According to the internal structure, there is a 2-layer frame made of polyester, 2 more layers of steel, and a layer of nylon. It is enough to have such a solid elastic sidewall, which will allow both to resist shocks and to carry the load. Well, probably almost everything that could be said from the point of view of technical solutions. Well, I would also note how detailed and high quality the tread elements are made, and in general, this speaks volumes, and first of all, about the close relationship close to the world-famous Bridgestone tire brand. In addition, the fact that the tire is quite eco-friendly, the inscriptions on the sidewall green and eco speak about it. And only first-tier tires pay such attention to environmental safety, and the Antares tire is proof of this, thanks to close cooperation with the Bridgestone company. And probably, a small addition about the ability to carry the load and resist shocks is the standard of layering here 8 prairie, which yes, is quite, let's say, a significant indicator in terms of the ability to carry the load and resistance to external influences. And it was the honor of China Fortune Cleant FSR 102 to complete our review today. The Fortune tire brand is not so well known in our country, but for those who have operated truck tires, the Fortune tire brand has been familiar to them for a long time. This is primarily an extremely well-known manufacturer of truck tires from China, and the fact that the company is serious and large is indicated by the fact that Fortune's production sites are located in several countries of the world. For example, today, the tire presented here is made in Thailand. Here we have such a classic symmetrical pattern, and here's what Andrew said about the fact that Forkim produces truck tires. In many ways this was reflected in the commercial tire, because a lot was borrowed from these solid shoulder zones, and these support ribs. Very so to speak, this drawing will have so much in common with the cargo theme. The tread depth here is 86, the hardness of the rubber compound is 66 units. There are such long lamellae along the shoulder area, and along the support ribs, for working on wet coatings, a sufficiently elastic sidewall, a 2-layer polyester frame, 2 layers of steel, and a layer of nylon. Also, so to speak, the traditional structure for commercial tires, and the ply rate of 8 etc. The model is presented here in the size of 205/70 P15C. But I would note the following as a key factor for the Fortune tire brand. Very high wear resistance, that is, incredibly high walking ability of tires, and the ability to carry a high load. And these are actually the most important characteristics for commercial type tires. Therefore, if you really need the most profitable tires in terms of the ruble-kilometer ratio, then pay attention to commercial tires of this particular brand. But in principle, our main message for all tires, which we have said, is that they allow today To put a tire with a good combination of price and quality and decent technical characteristics on a commercial car, van, minibus, Gazelle. Friends, well, this concludes this short review of Chinese tires of commercial category C. Subscribe to our channels in Telegram, YouTube and Zen, and wait for the next videos that we are already preparing for you. Good luck on the roads. Goodbye.